Tell me your name.
My first name is Trent.
Yep.
Last name is Edberg.
Okay. What was your rank?
I
Or
am a staff sergeant in the U.S. Army.
okay, thank you. So what was your volunteer experience with everything? I mean, like um, what, or I guess, or like why did you volunteer?
Why did I
Yeah.
volunteer? Um, I guess right after I graduated, well, I guess my first, I should say, is that my family's kind of got the military history behind it
Okay.
or whatever, where my grandpa on my mom's side was in the Army Air Corps.
Okay.
My dad was in the Air Force. I got numerous uncles that were in the Marine Corps and the Navy.
Okay.
My older brother was in the Marine Corps. And then I joined the Army, and then my little brother followed after me and joined the Army. So it's just been kind of a family tradition. So I looked at it as, well, one, to follow family tradition, and then two, is something that I can actually do, get out on my own and do my own thing. So I left the house and I've been out on my own ever since. And that was kind of my big push. And, I was thinking about college down the line where this way I wouldn't have to pay for college. The military would pay for the college for me. And, I'd start off on the right foot.
Okay. So, how was basic training? I mean, like, what were the main things that happened there, or like, what was like some good stories that you have of it, or any type thing like that?
Basic training, you look at it during that time frame and you think it actually kind of it's not very fun. But when you look
Yeah.
back at it, when I look back at it now,
Mm.
it has a lot of fun times where you did a lot of fun things that you wouldn't normally get the opportunity to do. Granted the 12 mile and the 15-mile hikes, all that
Yeah.
good stuff. That wasn't the funnest, but now you look back and go, wow, that wasn't so bad. Because one, everybody was going through it with you at the same time. I still the thing that I guess I take out of basic training is. Some of the fun stories is that I still hang out with, or I still stay in contact with a lot of guys that I went to basic with, and
Okay.
I've been in the Army for 23 years, and these are guys that one guy lives in Hawaii, we have guys that live in Florida, all around the United States. So if I travel anywhere, I'll know somebody that lives in that area. So it's always been beneficial to kind of build that brotherhood from 20 some years ago. So.
Okay. Yeah. So that was kind of my next question is like like the bonds that you formed. So like it's just there's a lot of people around that what you went through basic with and that type of stuff. So.
Absolutely, yep. From basic training to even today,
Mm.
with the people I still serve today, and it's kind of crazy is that you can go pretty much anywhere, and you'll run into somebody that you know.
Yeah.
It's that the military's kind of got its own little, I wouldn't call it a brotherhood, sisterhood, but that's
Yeah.
exactly what it is. It's a brotherhood and a sisterhood. Is that one, you look out for each other on the outside, but yet you still maintain the military bearing and stuff like that. But I'm really good friends with a guy right now. He lives in Texas. He's the guy I ran around with. I was stationed at Fort Campbell in Kentucky, and we still stay in contact quite a bit. And then my other buddy that I ran around with, he lives in Clarksville, Kentucky,
Okay.
and we just talk back and forth, quite a bit. So it's that brotherhood that you gain while you're there. But then, even the South Dakota Guard guys, the weird thing is, I was down in Omaha,
Mm.
and down by where Kelly and Bill used to live, and
Yeah.
we were walking the kids up to the park, and a guy rides over on his bike, and he passed by me, and I kind of looked at him, and he looked at me, and he turned his bike around, and he goes, "Oh, hey, Trent," and I was like, "Oh, wow," you run into people that you know in the weirdest places.
Yeah.
I ran into a guy at a baseball game in Kansas City that I knew just because it's such a small brotherhood that you
Okay.
gain. So
So how many tours did you do
I've
exactly?
done five.
You done
I've
five?
done five.
Okay.
Yep. I've done two to Afghanistan, two to the Middle East, Kuwait, and Saudi Arabia stuff, and then I did one to Egypt in
Okay.
Africa.
Okay. And then so like what did you do over there? I mean, like what were your like assignments and duties as a staff sergeant?
Well, I guess which one do you want me to talk about first? From my first one all the way up till my last, or
Yeah, I mean, however you want
okay,
to talk, yeah, to it.
they're very different. I guess when back in this year, when did I go to 1995
Hmm.
is when I went to Egypt,
Okay.
and that's when I was stationed with 5th Special Forces Group, and we went there and we trained the Egyptian Special Forces, utilizing kind of our tactics. We did what was called like a CSAR mission, where we taught them how to find down pilots and stuff like that, locate them, bring them back, and stuff like that.
Okay.
And then in 1995, at the end of 95, 96, is when I did my first Kuwait tour.
Mhm.
We were the first SADE team to do a SADE mission, I guess, on the DMZ with Iraq and Kuwait. We just did like surveillance and stuff like that on the border, a lot of border security. We worked a little bit with the Kuwaitis, just kind of teaching them internal security, stuff like that, so that way they understood that stuff.
Okay.
Then in 2006, 2007 is when I went to Afghanistan.
Mhm.
I was what was called an ETT, or an embedded team trainer, with the Afghan National Army and the Afghan National Police.
Okay.
Started with the Afghan Army, where we taught them, the U.S. Army tactics, teaching them how to train their soldiers. We were going on. I was basically a combat advisor, what it was. So
Okay.
anytime that they went on a mission, I went on a mission with them, and kind of mentored their leadership on how to do it right, I guess, to make sure that everybody that he took out on the mission came back home,
Okay.
type thing. And then let's see here. Then I switched over to the Afghan National Police, and that was kind of a unique mission because we were actually starting up the integration with the U.S. and the Afghan National Police. So we were kind of getting to know them, kind of getting to train them a little bit, starting to build their rapport with them, so that way we could work hand in hand with them. And then let's see here, 2012, I went to Kuwait again. But I went as a little bit of a different one. This was a survey team where we designed waterways. We designed stuff for drainage, a lot of buildings and stuff like that, working with the engineers. And then I went back up into Afghanistan in 2013, and that was more of an engineer project too, where we were building Camp John Pratt, which was in northern Afghanistan in Mazar Sharif. It was a brand new U.S. fob that we were doing all the survey for them, so that way they could build this brand new fob for a hub to get everybody out of Afghanistan.
Yeah, okay. Um, yeah. Okay, so what were some of like the connections that you had with like the home front while you were over there? I mean, like how did you kind of stay in contact with everybody here?
Oh, back home. Well, it wasn't quite as advanced as my first one. It was all letter writing, tape recordings, all
Yeah.
that good stuff. You tape it on a cassette, they'd mail it over, so that way you had that.
Mm,
But by the time, in 2006, there was a lot of it was just
yeah.
email and letter. I was in such a desolate area that we didn't have, we didn't have TV. We didn't even have a kitchen where we were cooking over an open fire pit. So
Okay.
a lot of it was, hey, if you get 2 minutes to type out an email, you can get online real quick utilizing the satellite. You can get on there, send an email back to, I sent it back to Carrie just saying, hey, I'm alive, I'm doing good, we're good, type thing. But then on this last deployment, it was actually pretty good where we had this right here. We had Skype,
Right. Yeah.
so that we could get online and we could actually see each other, and it made it a little bit easier.
Yeah.
Email was a big thing, and then phone. They did have where we could call back home, about once every 3 days, so that way you could tell them, just say, hey, I'm doing good, I'm alive, and
Yeah.
we're good to go. So.
Um. So do you have any like or what were your on the war in Afghanistan over there? What were your particular like views, or did you like yeah? What were your like views on it? Like why we were over there, or I mean, did we need to be over there and that type of stuff? I mean,
Yeah, I agree 100% that we're over there. You know, Fighting the war on terrorism, we've got a long ways to go yet.
yeah,
And, they say that hearts and minds is the biggest thing. Well, I agree, but I disagree with that. The older people, they're kind of set in their ways a little bit, so it's kind of hard to change their views, and then you have the ones that are a little bit older, they're kind of set in their ways too, so it's a little bit hard to change their ways. So if we start with the younger generation and we're there and they see we're there for a presence, we're there to protect them. We're there to help them grow as a country, let them grow up and be adults, and and they don't have to worry about the war. They don't have to worry about the Taliban, Al Qaeda. They don't have to worry about all these people. If we're there to help get rid of that threat of them, to let them grow up, absolutely. I support it 150%. And if ever get that opportunity to go back again, yeah, sure. Would I go? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's what we're fighting for, is for them. Every kid in the United States has had that opportunity to grow up, and they, somewhat get the security level, the comfort level, and that's what we kind of want to do for them too, is actually let them have that opportunity, let them feel what it feels like to grow up and make their choices too.
Okay.